Hello and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei and we are back for the morning forecast show. Welcome in everyone. We've got a special again today to be looking at XRP versus Bitcoin. We'll also be covering your questions, the top news of the day. We do this every single morning. First it comes out as a live, and then later if you're watching this as a video, please do also hit the like button and watch all the way through. So we're looking at XRP versus Bitcoin on the morning forecast show. Remember, what's the morning forecast show all about? Well, we've got a special story, plus we look to see if it's a thundery day in the markets, if it's going to be a red day, a green day, a sideways day. Sometimes we do like these sideways days. Remember, we're going to talk about this as well. Sideways days for Bitcoins are good for altcoins, and I'll explain that in this video. Or is it going to be a day we all make some money? We will find out. Well, let's have a look at the markets. Welcoming everyone to the stream. Please do hit the like button on your way in. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. But let's get into the thoughts and opinions about XRP and Bitcoin. Let me just check we're running okay. I think we are. On your way in. Yeah, that's all working good. I've got a different system. So here we go. So the title of the video, XRP holders beware. Bitcoin could leave XRP in the dust soon. I want everyone to be prepared for that scenario, and that's the scenario that I think is going to take place. What do I mean exactly by that? Well, I think Bitcoin is going to outperform XRP. I've said in the month of August, and we said this before going into August, a couple of days before, once we started having that, before that correction down to $3, which I predicted live on the show, a week before we started going into August, I said what's going to happen now, in my opinion, again, I can't tell the future, but I can use the charts and my knowledge to try and navigate the markets. And what I said is I expect the price of XRP to go down to $3, and then in the month of August to have some sideways, downwards, upwards, just a sideways channel between $3.40 and $2.62. So far, that's exactly what's been playing out. So XRP is going sideways / down. We're down 25% since I started saying we're probably going to go down 25% from $3.70 to $2.75. This is not a get rich quick scheme. Crypto is not a get-rich-quick scheme. In fact, most people that start trading crypto, start buying crypto, the new people within the markets actually end up losing money in crypto. So what we want to do here is not lose money on crypto and navigate the markets. And you need to understand there's at some points in the crypto cycle where everything goes crazy and you make money no matter where you throw your money, or no matter what you invest in, and that's called an altcoin season. You get mini ones when Bitcoin dominance falls off a cliff, and you get a main one normally at the end of the cycle. We haven't got that yet. That's what we're preparing for. And the last time we got that was once back over here at that massive breakout we covered live on the show. The XRP breakout live on the show. Let me show you a different chart that shows it much clearer. You can see right here we predicted a massive face-ripping rally for XRP. We even went as far to say XRP could hit $10 in 7 days. Do I regret saying that? No. Was I wrong? Not really, because I did say it's more likely than not that won't happen. I said there's a 40-30% chance that we get $10 within 7 days. So I wasn't really wrong, but let's say I was wrong. At least I was prepared for that scenario because I know how XRP moves. When it moves fast, and it had a massive breakout. If it broke the previous all-time highs and it went through the target of this breakout, then that's $10 within 7 days would have been very likely. However, we stalled out. I changed my thoughts. I said we're going down to $3 and probably at some point in August, $2.62. That all seems to be playing out. Another time where we got a massive breakout was back in November of 2024. If you remember, we predicted this as well, all the way from 45 cents to basically $3.50 within a matter of a month or two. So you can see when XRP moves, it moves fast. However, that all depends on what Bitcoin does and what Bitcoin dominance does. Let me just check what this is. Ego. Thank you, Heavenly Upfit. I have no idea what you mean. You're obviously not a viewer of this channel. Anyway, that's just a live chat I'm replying to. It depends on what Bitcoin does. Is Bitcoin in a bull market? Is Bitcoin making new all-time highs? Is Bitcoin bringing new money into the market? It all relies on that. But the chart I prefer to look at when I'm looking at what's going to outperform what, and coming on to why I think Bitcoin's going to outperform XRP, is the Bitcoin dominance chart. How much of the money in the cryptocurrency market is in Bitcoin? And you can really look at this chart and identify some trends within bull markets and bear markets, and within altcoin seasons and Bitcoin seasons. Bitcoin seasons is when Bitcoin outperforms the market. Altcoin season is when altcoins go crazy and outperform Bitcoin. You can see back in 2017. You can see the Bitcoin season was back in August of 2017 all the way until December of 2017, and then Bitcoin dominance fell off a cliff. Altcoins went crazy. Then you go into 2021, Bitcoin starts outperforming altcoins. Altcoins don't do anything compared to Bitcoin. In fact, some of them were going down or staying where they were, while Bitcoin dominance was heading to prices around 70%. Then you got the altcoin season in 2021 when Bitcoin dominance fell from 70% to 40%. That was, if you were in 2021 and you were investing then, you would know what that was like. That was altcoins every single day going up 20, 30, 40%, 100x's, 10x's, 5x's, 1000x's, all going on. Why? Well, because the money was flowing out to Bitcoin into these smaller market cap altcoins. And if that same money flows into altcoins, because not as much money is needed to move them, they do 10x's, 20x's, 30x's. And that's when you identify an altcoin season. When you start breaking down, when the money starts flowing onto your altcoins. And then what happened during the bear market was we saw consolidation of Bitcoin dominance at these low levels. And then we said it's going to be Bitcoin season. Bitcoin's going to outperform altcoins. And it did, all the way from 40% to 60%. Then we predicted XRP will break out and there'll be an altcoin season because we hit a specific target on Bitcoin dominance. That target was 60%. That's when XRP went from 50 cents to $3.50. Then we went on another Bitcoin and run up to 65%. Then more recently, we predicted that all-time high on XRP breakout from $2.30. That happened. And now we come to today. So what's happening today? Well, I think we're going to start consolidating and move up for Bitcoin dominance. What does that mean? It basically means Bitcoin is going to outperform XRP. So don't be concerned. In my opinion, a lot of people will be going back into Bitcoin. The big traders, the institutions, they're going to be buying Bitcoin, and altcoins aren't going to be doing much. So we're probably going to see Bitcoin, in my opinion, go back to the upside on Bitcoin dominance. Does that necessarily mean Bitcoin itself, the price, the USD price of Bitcoin is going to go up? Well, I think it is. However, Bitcoin dominance can still go up if Bitcoin's price is down. How does that happen? Well, it just means Bitcoin's price stays the same or goes down 1%, and the altcoin market goes down 5%, 10%. So even if Bitcoin's price is down and going down, if the altcoins underperform Bitcoin and are down even more, this chart that we're looking at right now will continue to go up. So it just means Bitcoin is going to outperform the altcoins, whether it goes up in the price of USD or stays the same and altcoins underperform it. I expect Bitcoin dominance chart to go up. But I think after this final move up, whether that's in August going into September, that's the time frames I'm giving, Bitcoin outperforming the altcoins. I think at some point that is going to end and we start getting a Bitcoin, an altcoin season and a collapse like we saw back in 2021 when you got a collapse of support and you crashed on Bitcoin dominance and altcoins went crazy. So that's what we're looking out for. Right now, I think over the next month, Bitcoin is going to outperform the altcoins, hopefully. And what I'm going to be looking for is, while that's happening, hopefully the USD price of Bitcoin goes up. Currently we're sat at 114,000. We back tested 111,000, which is quite bullish to see as long as we hold that level. Hopefully we see Bitcoin's USD price actually go up, because that means more money is flowing into the cryptocurrency market. And once Bitcoin outperforms XRP, and starts heading to its next targets, 125 to 130,000, 150 to 100, 145 to 150,000. That will allow a lot more liquidity to flow into XRP, and then finally we get XRP go into its big bull market, and and go to all-time highs. I'm looking at some of these comments here and they're absolutely ridiculous. What is going on? Thank you, Mike. Don't worry. I mean, they're just trolls at the end of the day. What is going on? Impossible for his day. I don't know who that person is. I think you're full of it. Okay, Matthew Johns. Well, you obviously haven't been part of this channel. Matthew Johns has just said, I'm full of it. Cool. Well, you haven't been watching the channel because we were buying XRP at 30 cents. We predicted the Bitcoin bull market. We predicted the XRP ETFs before anyone started talking about it. We're going to get the XRP ETFs in October. Bitcoin has outperformed XRP at certain points. In fact, for most of this bull market. And especially the altcoin market. So I don't know what you mean by I'm full of it, but even to my surprise, I didn't think I was going to be right this much, and we have. And now I'm putting out a massive prediction of what's going to happen in the month of August and September. So thank you for your opinion, but you obviously haven't been here throughout the show, and you don't know what you're talking about. The other person, Matthew, makes sense. That person is just a scammer. He is actually a scammer. He's talking about, we're going to hide that person because he's actually just trying to grab people's money. So at least Matthew Johns is a real person with an opinion. The other person is just a scammer. Mike the Slayer is busy today. Thank you, Mike. XRP to $1,000, maybe in time, but I don't start putting out those predictions when that's not going to happen anytime soon. Take no notice of him, bro. He knows nothing. Thank you, Label to Wear. Look, I'm not coming here to say XRP is terrible and XRP Bitcoin's the best and it's going to outperform a Bitcoin. You should be in Bitcoin because Bitcoin's going to outperform XRP. I'm coming here so that you don't get surprised by what the most likely scenario is. And I think the most likely scenario right now is, what was that one? Baby doll. Clickbait as usual. Thank you, Baby doll. I don't know what you want me to say. I've literally, I am making XRP holders be aware of what's going to happen so that they don't trade on emotions, because right now people are going to get annoyed because XRP hasn't gone to the moon. Bitcoin is outperforming XRP recently, and I want people to understand why that's happening so that you know how to make an informed decision. So I don't see the clickbait. There's good clickbait, which is obviously what brings you into the show, but I'm talking about exactly what I said. Bitcoin is probably going to outperform XRP, and be prepared for that. I come from the honesty and plain speak. Stay for the same. Thank you. Quite tired. Very, very much appreciate that. So once. Just to recap again, I think Bitcoin's going to outperform XRP this month. I think in September, XRP is going to start outperforming Bitcoin. Hopefully, Bitcoin's made new all-time highs to 125, 130, 150,000. That will bring more liquidity in. Everyone's going to be buying XRP in September for the rumors of the XRP ETF coming out in October. No one is even caught on to those rumors. We have been covering it for a few months now that's the time the XRP ETFs are going to come out. We'll probably get a surge on XRP's price for a day or two because the SEC case is going to be dropped, in my opinion, before the 15th of August, the cross appeal. God, what's going on in the chat today? Have to correct him. If Bitcoin... I don't mind these if they're not rude comments. I don't mind having them on. Have to correct him. If Bitcoin outperforms and the price Bitcoin's still falling, the people change the stablecoins, not what he said. Right. I don't even know what you mean. If Bitcoin outperformed the price, Bitcoin's still falling. No, I heavenly. If you want to rephrase that, it makes no sense to me what you've just said. It makes no sense, so that's fine. I wish to thank all the moderators for your great work helping this channel what it is today and what will become in the future. You're part of the story and success. Yes, the moderators are great value to the channel. Thank you, Martyn. So we're holding XRP then and buying. I don't give advice. You do what's best for you. I'm holding XRP because I think ultimately XRP is going to $10 this cycle. $8 to $12 is my target for this cycle. Can it go? Is that conservative? Yeah, I think it's pretty conservative targets. Would other people say it's conservative? Some people will say that's a crazy prediction. It's nowhere. It's never going to go there. Some people will say, well, XRP is going to $100, $1,000. You're too bearish. I'm talking about this cycle. So that's my target, $8 to $12. By the time it hits $8, I've probably taken most of my profits already, because I've got a laddering out strategy. $4, $4.50, $5, $6, $7. I've got my Fibonacci levels, and that's where I'm going to be taking profits. But everyone has their own strategy. So I won't say whether you should hold or sell or buy. I don't give financial advice. It's my thoughts and opinions only. So please do not buy or sell based on anything I say. Just doing my job. Me and XRP is outperforming Bitcoin in the middle of August. I think Bitcoin is going to outperform XRP just like it has been right now. If we go over to XRP, and it's not necessarily just XRP, that I'm talking about the wider markets. XRP is a bit stronger than the other altcoins, definitely a lot stronger. But I think still Bitcoin will probably outperform XRP. It will certainly outperform the general altcoin market, in my opinion. And you can see Bitcoin has certainly been outperforming XRP in the last few weeks as well. It's down 20%, while Bitcoin's only down 5%, something like that. So I think for the month of August, that trend will continue and Bitcoin will outperform XRP. And then hopefully in September, once we get that rate cut, that will happen in September. And once the rumors of the ETF, the mainstream, will start picking up on that, then the build up for the buy the news of the ETFs in the middle of October, because remember, I'm sort of 90% confident that that's when the ETFs will get approved. I think they're 100%. I'm 100% confident that they'll come out this year. When do I think they'll come out? October 18th, 17th. Remember, I showed you that chart of when the deadlines are coming up, and it's not just a deadline where the SEC can extend it. It's approve or deny. I think they'll choose to approve it, and that comes up in October. Not only is it an XRP ETF, there's many altcoin ETFs that are probably going to come out around the same time. So that's why I think people will start buying the rumor in September. But for that to be to a great extent, we want Bitcoin's USD price, not its dominance price, which will probably come hand in hand to go up to its next targets, 130,000, which will show that the strength of the bull market is still here, which will bring more liquidity in the markets, and that will show that Bitcoin is still in a bull market and the crypto market can still be in a bull market. Let me go to your comments as well. Let me see who was here. When Bitcoin pumps, so do the altcoins, including XRP. But at certain times, when Bitcoin does a major pump, altcoins don't keep up, and that's when Bitcoin dominance goes up. Lads, how are we? Hello, Daniel. How are you doing? Good morning, Sensei. Hello, Dan. Hello, Master. Hello, Robert. Good morning, everyone. William Myers. Good morning, Paul D. Hello, Mike. Yes, it's so annoying the username change, but everyone who had a display name but can no longer see it, please go into your YouTube settings, go into your profile, go into the handle section. It's basically your username. It's called a handle. Go and change it to something that we recognize, because as a family, we want to recognize each other's names. And because now we're on usernames, everyone's usernames, or most people's usernames, are a bit different to their display names. Try and change it to something similar to your previous display name if you are a family member of this channel, so we can recognize your names. Just go into your YouTube settings, profile, handle, and change it. Yes, why even bother with XRP? Well, many people say that. Bitcoin has performed, if not better than XRP, for many, many years. So, if you've been holding XRP since 2017, since the peak, you've gone sideways, whereas Bitcoin has done a 10, 20, 30x. So that is a fair argument, but I like XRP, and I think it's time for XRP to start making up its gains now. Enhance the rooster sound. Thank you, James. Hi, guys. Hello, everyone. Okay, so if you are here in the show, please do hit the like button. Please do subscribe if you haven't done so already. It won't last forever. XRP will be number one soon enough. Bitcoin, stagnant coin, one use case. Yeah, it's got one use case, but it's the first crypto. It's the one that everyone's adopting, and I think Bitcoin will stay number one for a significant amount of time. Do I think XRP can overtake Bitcoin? Yes, I do, but I don't even want to start thinking about that. Let's start by overtaking Ethereum first. I think we don't need to overtake Bitcoin's market cap, but can it? Yes, it can. Bitcoin dominance is rising plus Bitcoin. Okay, yeah, here we go. You've explained it. Bitcoin dominance is rising. Yes, Bitcoin and altcoins are dropping. Equals people exiting alts faster, rotating to Bitcoin or stablecoins, risk off mode. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying as well. People exiting alts faster. Risk off mode. Heavily Unibrow. I'm struggling to see how that's different to what I've been saying. XRP will overtake Bitcoin in market cap one day, maybe. How likely is that XRP goes back to $2.62? I think it's pretty likely. I wouldn't say it's something that crazy that will happen. I think that's very easy for XRP to come back down to $2.62. You get a little correction. You get an inflation fear. Next week, inflation data coming out, the most important inflation data that I think we're going to get this year. Why am I saying that? Well, because jobs data is bad. If we go over to here, let's give this a refresh and see what the market's pricing in for rate cuts. It's probably over 90% at this point. Yeah, it's about 90%. Let me go over here and show you. So this is going to have a major effect on stock market and the crypto market. This inflation data. So what you're looking at here is a chart of what is the most likely scenario for rate cuts or pauses and stuff like that. It's the Fed watch tool. Right now, there's a 90% chance that we'll get a rate cut in September. September the 17th at the next FOMC meeting. There's a small 10% chance that we will hold. Why is there a massive chance we'll get a rate cut? Well, that happened exactly the day that we got to jobs data. The jobs data and the revisions in the jobs data for the last few months was awful. The amounts of jobs that were created were very, very low. So that is a concern for the Federal Reserve, for the economy, because if you're holding interest rates high, you can potentially damage the jobs market. And now we're seeing evidence of that. So that gives us evidence that you should start bringing down the rates, or that it's very likely that the Fed will start bringing down the rates. However, inflation is still sticky. It is still going up. And to keep inflation or bring inflation down, or to keep it down, you want to hold rates for as long as you can until that inflation starts coming back down to a trend, or you see a very good trend down to 2%. So CPI inflation data is coming out next week. It's going to be the most important one, because if inflation data comes out hot, it comes out higher than expected, then what? The Fed is going to be left in a very sticky situation. They've got inflation going up. They've got the economy, the jobs report bad. What do? Do they hold interest rates where they are so that they can combat inflation, or they bring interest rates down so that they can help fix the economy? They'll be stuck in a sticky situation. I don't know what they'll do. However, the market won't like that, because that's two conflicting things. One means keep interest rates where they are. The other thing means bring interest rates down. That will sort of mess up bring uncertainty to the markets, and that could result in a downwards turn, and that can certainly bring XRP down to $2.62 if that happens, or lower. There could be a sort of a correction in August, and then things can calm down in September. We'll see, or towards the end of September into August. We'll see. Whose birthday is it? Oh, Joshua. Happy birthday to Joshua. Oh no, Josiah. Sorry, why am I saying Joshua? Who's how do we know it's Josiah's birthday? I don't know. Happy birthday anyway. Josiah. Josiah? Am I saying it right? Josiah? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but happy birthday to you. If you're a member, let us know so you can get your birthday song in the Friday music show. SBI Holdings have been working with Ripple for some time. They have just applied for 2 XRP ETFs and in South Korea, blockchain digital asset custody service to offer institutional custody for XRP. Thank you very much for that news. Bought my first 100 shares on the dip. 100 shares of what? I wish Josiah to be the largest XRP holder in the world. Oh, the chat isn't showing me as Bitcoins again. So random. Showing me as Bitcoins. No, your name is Craig DWads3032. That's what you're showing you. Him and his sister have $300. Only have $300 each, and also $500 in gold mine and fractional shares of the S&P. But they will get there. Him and his sister. Who are we talking about, Stacey? My birthday is until the 11th of this month. Well, when you look forward to celebrating your birthday. We've got the poll running right now. 88% of you prefer XRP to Bitcoin, which I would fall into that category as well. Let me go into some of the news of today. Let's go to today's newsletter. If I go refresh this, is the newsletter site. Here we go. Let me bring this to you. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter yet, if you are a real investor, you want to keep up to date with the news. How better to keep up to date with the news than our very own newsletter, which actually brings the news that matters to the markets, to XRP, to the crypto markets. I do keep up to date with all the XRP news. I do keep up to date with the world economy news, the macro news, the stock market news, anything that affects that. And I've hopefully, in my opinion, built the best newsletter out there, because every morning you get the one big thing, a little financial coaching tip about the money move for the day. You get the market snapshot about just a glance of what's going on in the major markets: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, S&P, Nasdaq, FTSE, 10-year yield, got oil and gold, just to keep an eye on those, the major ones in my opinion. Then you get the 5 stories. 5 stories every single day, the main stories that are affecting the markets, or things that you need to keep an eye on, so in the future you can make more informed decisions. All these main stories, you get 5 of them at least every single day. Yesterday we had 6. You get the deeper dive story. Today is about SMCI, and I'll be doing a special on SMCI. You get the economic calendar, so what's happening every day. Today we've got the Eurozone retail sales that have already come out, and you've got the Fed officials potentially talking at various times. You've got the calendar for the rest of the week as well, the key themes you need to look out for, and then you get the chart of the day. What is the chart of the day? Well, today is SMCI. You get all my levels, all my thoughts every single day to your inbox. So if you don't have the newsletter yet, that link gives you a 7-day free trial if you want everything. That includes the deep dive, the extra stories, the chart of the day, or you can we might as well try it out for 7 days, or you can go into the monthly plan. That's probably going to go up in price, so if you want to go and secure your price right now, that you can go do that. And there's also a free plan, so go and check it out. There is the link, so please do consider that. Oh, Stacey, you're talking about your children. They are, oh nice, they're already in the markets. Wow, that's brilliant to hear. Space new video update. Wings are ready for big progress. So like I say, send that into Discord. That'd be great to have a look at. But let's go into today's top stories. I never have time to go through the whole newsletter, so you guys should obviously subscribe to it, because you can read it, you can listen to it on the app as well. There's a very nice app. You can, if you don't want the emails, you can get it on the app. If you want both, you can get it. It's an amazing way of interacting. It fits your needs. Anyway, UK Chancellor faces 51 billion physical black hole. This is Rachel Reeves having some problems with a physical black hole. So Chancellor Rachel Reeves is confronting a staggering 51 billion shortfall that threatens to break her fiscal rules, according to the National Institute of Economic and Social Research. The gap stems from weaker than expected growth, elevated borrowing costs, and costly U-turns on welfare reforms that were intended to save 5.5 billion annually. NIESR projects Reeves will miss her stability rule, requiring day-to-day spending to match tax revenue by 41.2 billion in 29-30. Adding the need to replenish her 9.9 billion physical buffer brings the total shortfall to 51 billion. To close the gap, and this is where everyone's a bit worried about. Sorry, I just dropped something on the floor. Landed on my toe. This is what everyone's worried about: tax increases in the UK. tax increase after tax increases seems to be what's happening with this new government. Anyway, to close the gap, the think tank warns income tax rates for both basic and higher earnings would need to rise about 5 percentage points, measures that would break Labour's manifesto pledge not to raise tax on working people, which in my opinion they've already broken in many ways, especially with their national insurance increases for companies, because they will have to put that cost to the workers. Anyway, NIESR describes an impossible trilemma, meeting fiscal rules, honouring spending commitments and keeping tax promises simultaneously. Reeves may face some of the largest tax hikes in a generation at the autumn budget, just as UK gilt market remains elevated above the G7 nations, limiting borrowing flexibility and forcing tough decisions on the size and scope of government spending. Reeves isn't just juggling three balls, she's doing it on a tightrope in a high winds with markets watching her every move. This could get very bad very quick for the UK economy and something like the FTSE, bond markets, all that sort of stuff. So autumn budget is coming up. If you don't know what that is, it's basically we've got 2 budgets a year in the UK where they come out and the Chancellor, in this case is the Labour Chancellor Rachel Reeves. We covered a few stories about her. Anyway, they come out and they set the new budget, which basically means what they're spending, what they're going to be doing, the tax rises, anything related to tax and stuff like that. They do it twice a year, and there's one in autumn and one in spring. Yeah, one in spring, one in autumn. And this time round, they've got a lot of money that they need to raise because of all their policies. So are they going to bring more tax rises? Well, if they do, that could be a major issue. And one other thing they're talking about is a wealth tax. So just a percentage of your wealth they will be looking to tax as well, which is obviously making a lot of rich people in the UK flee the country. Some people might say that's brilliant, tax the rich. But what it's in fact doing, it means all those companies that they have, all the money that they're bringing into the UK also goes with them. I think the fact is about 14,000 millionaires have left the UK this year. The second highest country is China with 7,000 millionaires leaving. And you need to remember, England or the UK is a country of 66 million population. China's one of 1 billion. So the UK is in a lot of struggles, and you could see that when Trump came and spoke to Keir Starmer in Scotland last week. Trump was not very happy with the tax decisions, especially on farmers and stuff like that. Trump has a cut taxes regime. The UK right now is not undergoing the same. Anyway, we will cover that story as it breaks even further, because that can have a real impact on the UK and the global markets. Not necessarily a massive impact to global markets, but can have a little tailwind. Anyway, the next story we have is emerging markets stocks fall on chips, tariff threats, Taiwan probe. So, emerging markets, remember this is something that people like to invest in a diversified portfolio. I've just seen a story here. People are reacting to this UK story. They need to lower tax in the UK, not raise them. Yeah, I agree. Think I'll just head off to a beach for a few weeks and come back for XRP takeoff in September. Nothing's guaranteed. We might even be much lower. Who knows? We might have already crashed. There might be a recession and we might be at $1 XRP in September. I don't know, but my prediction is we won't be. Reeves is a sadist. Satoshi's 3-person named. I'm not going to say too much about Satoshi. I'm considering leaving UK. Taxes are way too high on investing outside an ISA. Dylan Wilson, yeah, they are very high. The ISA is great, but they're probably going to be reducing the ISA in the autumn budget. Maybe just the cash ISA, but ISA is great. 20,000, brilliant, more than probably most countries, tax-free. But then everything else is a nightmare, whether it's homes, rent, I don't know, any income tax has been the same for a while, not increasing. The bans, capital gains tax if you hold crypto where you can't hold it in an ISA, all these things. So I agree, there's a lot of taxes in the UK. Back to him. So, emerging markets equities slid Wednesday as US President Donald Trump warned that semiconductor tariffs could be announced within the next week or so, shaking chip stocks across Asia Pacific. Taiwan's TAIEX dropped 0.9% to 23,447 with a turnover of 349 billion. That's about $11 billion. Losses were led by semiconductor shares after authorities detained 3 TSMC employees for allegedly stealing trade secrets tied to advanced 2nm chip technology. Taiwan took the hardest hit, with TSMC shares down 2.17% following a 2.73 drop in US ADRs, accounting for about 200 points of the tax decline. United Microelectrics fell 1.69% and nanotechnologies lost 2.36%. Pressure spread to South Korea chip makers and Japanese equipment firms. The sell-off reflects mounting geopolitical and operational risks. Trump's Section 232, this is the important part. Trump's Section 232 semiconductor probe could impose tariffs exceeding the existing 20% levy on Taiwan, while Taiwan, holding over 60% of global foundry capacity and exporting ICT products as 70% plus of its US trade, faces major economic blow if chips are targeted. So this is another tariff that we are afraid of, or the market is certainly afraid of, and this is the chip tariff, the Section 232 tariff, which Donald Trump says he could announce within the next week or so. Remember, this is a major market these chip stocks can go down. The US could be worried they're not going to get enough. We've heard what NVIDIA CEO has said about this specific tariff. He's not a fan of it at all. So we're going to keep a close eye on that, and we will be covering when Donald Trump speaks on that specific tariff. So make sure you are subscribed and you have your notification bell on, because any major event, we cover it live on the show. I would like to hear about how to hold crypto in a trust. That's an interesting question. Johnny, are you here? Are you from the UK? I assume you're from the UK or not. Johnny, Mountain and C, let me know. So let me go on to the next story. Here we go. Again, Exodus accelerates thousands of UK companies. So it's not even millionaires now. These are probably millionaires, but Exodus accelerates. Thousands of UK company directors leave after Labour's tax overhaul. We've got people leaving fast from the UK. The UK has seen a sharp acceleration in company directors departures following Labour's sweeping tax reforms, with 3,790 directors removing the UK. I'm trying to think, should I make this into a video for... I might just go live again and cover these stories. I'll leave that story for now because I want to come on and do that story again as a UK specific video. Johnny Mountain, see, you are from the UK. Yeah, can you hold a cryptos in trust? In theory, yes, you can. But you would have to sort of set up with, I don't think a normal financial advising firm would deal with crypto, but if you find a specific one, you probably could. Are you on Discord, Johnny Mountains and Seas? Because I've got quite a few connections within the financial advising world within the UK, because obviously that's where I was working before. But if you want to send me a message on Discord, I can try and see if we can set you up something to at least have a conversation with someone. Anyway. Is anyone flying for tax reasons? Is anyone flying for tax reasons? But where? They don't say where they go, but they claim they just leave weird. No, I think it's quite obvious probably where they're going, either someplace in Europe or Dubai or places which are just a little bit better in tax wise. Anyway, OpenAI eyes a $500 billion valuation in secondary share sale. Massive valuation there, $500 billion valuation for OpenAI. OpenAI is in early talks for a potential secondary stock sale that would value the AI leader at roughly $500 billion. a 66.7% jump from 300 billion valuation set during SoftBank's $40 billion funding round in March. The deal would enable current and former employees to sell several $1 billion worths of shares, with investors like Thrive Capital reportedly interested in participating. Annualized revenue has doubled to $12 billion in the first 7 months of 2025, with forecast to reach $20 billion by year end, up from $10 billion in June. ChatGPT now has 700 million weekly active users, up from 400 million in February, and process over 3 billion daily messages, holding over 70% of the large language model market, with 5 million paying business subscribers. Wow. 5 million paying business subscribers. That is a lot. What would that be? How much would they be generating a month? Crazy amounts. If completed, the deal would make OpenAI the world's most valuable private tech company, surpassing SpaceX's $400 billion valuation. It also doubles as talent retention strategy amidst intense competition, with Meta reportedly offering OpenAI researchers 9-figure packages. I mean, the stories you hear from what Meta is doing to acquire some of this business is absolutely incredible. They are offering, I don't even know, what is 9 figures? $1 million is 6. 9 figures. What's that? 9 figures is how much? Yeah, about 100, like between 100 and $1 billion. It's absolutely incredible what Meta is doing and you've probably heard about some of these stories. Meta is basically trying to poach some people from OpenAI, from Grok or Twitter X, but mainly OpenAI, and they're offering 50 million, 100 million, 150 million packages, whether it's a 5-year deal, 4-year deal, whatever it is, to just poach the talent from OpenAI. I mean, at this point, I wish I studied computer science and knew everything about AI when I was in school, because 100 million for a 5-year contract is absolutely incredible. And that's what Meta is doing, poaching these OpenAI researchers for 9-figure pay packages. Investors' appetite remains strong. The last funding round was oversubscribed 5-fold, but the company is still unprofitable, burning through an estimated $8 billion annually. This raised ongoing questions about the sustainability of AI's rapid growth cycle. A $500 billion valuation before profitability is likely a winning marathon at 80 miles. You're ahead, but the real endurance test is still coming. Crazy valuation of 500 billion. The most, and you just heard it there, the number 2 would be SpaceX at 400 billion. So this is more valuable than SpaceX, and it's still a private company, which is, I mean, incredible. Let me go over to some of your comments while we're going to go over to Martyn in about 8 minutes time. No, I will join. Johnny. Join the Discord. I'll give you the link for the Discord. It is a premium Discord. We only reply to you can only comment if you're a premium member, because we don't want the bots and the scammers, and you get access to the training course, all that sort of stuff. Or alternatively, you can message me on the newsletter. We have a community there as well, or join both. Best of both worlds. Anyway, that was me replying to Johnny. On the newsletter, you can send me a private message there as well, and obviously you get the newsletter as well. Anyway, Green Day Holdings. I beg to dream and differ from the hollow lies. This is the downing of the rest of our lives. This is our lives on holiday. SPC earnings. Thank you. SPC earnings. Is that today, isn't it? SPC earnings today. That will be one we're looking forward to. Zebek started moving up this morning. Thank you, Stephen. Okay, thanks. Sensei, what are your thoughts on Enphase Energy at the moment? My thoughts haven't changed, really. Let me go ahead and have a look at the chart. Thank you, James. I said it was at a buy zone, and there's more buy zones below it, but are we still within that zone? Yeah. We're still within this zone. This is the zone this is my first main buy zone, between $31 and $36. That's the area I'm looking to buy. That's the area I bought. And as I said, there is this downtrend continuing. So I said, I mean, go back and look at the videos. I'm buying here, then I'm keeping an eye on this downtrend. We went and we tested that downtrend exactly, and we're continuing. So lower lows, lower highs is the trend right now. It's certainly a downtrend. It's certainly oversold on the RSI at the moment, or just entering that oversold territory. At some point, this will bottom out and it will break this downwards trend. Whether it's here, which is where the first major level of support is, between $30 and $35, we're still within that exact zone of the buy zone I'm looking at. Or or if you go back and look at the analysis, my thoughts really haven't changed, James. First buy zone is here. Once you break out of the downtrend, you're probably going to $58. If we don't break this downtrend, then your next target is down another 40% at $17. I'm buying at $30. I'll be a buyer at $17 as well. Those are the two targets for end phase, and that's what I'm keeping an eye on, because at some point I think it'll recover, break this downtrend. Still at the first buy zone. Next buy zone is about $18. And I'm keeping money on the side to buy that $18 buy zone as well, in case it does come. No worries, James. Any thoughts? And Ty, if you do a $4.99 super chat, we can have a look at your stock. Thank you, says I bought a little bit of Enphase Energy. I'm going to hold on to it. Yeah, I've done the same. I think it's down from when I bought it. I think I bought it at 33. Now it's at 32. It did pop up to 42. I think I took slight profits. But yeah, I'm buying at these levels, and I'll be keeping some money on the side in case it does drop 40%, which won't be great because obviously I'll be down on the shares I bought here, but I'll just add to my position because at some point I think it'll recover. Waiting to buy my second Bitcoin on a decent pullback. Mark Saxby is in the chat. Mark is looking to acquire his second Bitcoin. Things can get volatile next week, Mark. Things can get volatile. If we get inflation that comes out bad, we could have a sudden retraction to maybe 106,000 or potentially 100,000 if things get really bad in the month of August. I am predicting sort of potentially a bad August if we do get some bad inflation report next week. So we'll keep an eye on it. If inflation's up next week and the jobs market's not good, then that's when uncertainty emerges in the market, and that's when people can be fearing recessions and stuff like that. So we might have a recession fear next week, and you might get an $100,000 Bitcoin or 106,000 possibly. Maybe, I don't know. Good luck trying to buy your second Bitcoin. I don't want to influence that decision on where to buy it, because ultimately I do think this cycle we're going to 150, 200,000, and then probably in the next 5 years we're going to be at 1 million or 500,000 or something like that. So long term it's always great. Good morning, Mark, says James. Great to have you here, Mark Saxby. Let me go back to our stories of today. So that was the one on OpenAI's $500 billion valuation. That is the largest valuation for any private company, even $100 billion more than SpaceX. And they're just burning through cash, $8 billion a year, as you can see within that image there. I'm going to do that story later as a video. We're going to go over to Martyn in about 4 minutes time. Let me see. We definitely have a link, but I don't think it's posted yet. Let me go and bring in the link for Martyn's show that we're going to be going into. There we go here. Here we go. That's starting soon. I'll put this in. Next. I'll pin that as well because that's where we're going in about 3 minutes time. Let me pin that. Let me close the poll as well. Please do stay where you are because we're going to do an analysis of SMCI. So I will actually be back in about right after Martyn to give you the full chart analysis and my thoughts on SMCI. So a little bit different this morning because I'll be back straight after Martyn. So do stick around because I'll be back in 20 minutes and then we'll go back to Martyn for the opening bell. So we're going a bit back and forth today. But if you stay where you are, you will go to exactly the right place because the streams take you there. There is the poll. What are the reactions there? XRP or Bitcoin? 88% of you say XRP, 11% of you say Bitcoin. Thank you very much for answering that poll. Is it possible to look at OPTT stock? If you become a member or if you do a super chat, then we can certainly have a look at it. I'm watching. Thank you. As always, Sensei. Thank you, Mark Saxby, for all your support. Okay, so let me go back over here. Did I miss anything on the newsletter? Well, I'm going to come back and talk to you about SMCI very, very shortly. So let me keep that there. We've got some Fed speakers today, so we'll see if we can cover any of that. And again, SMCI is what I'm coming back and what Martyn's about to cover now. Down about 19%, and it's, to me, it's looking a bit enticing. I want to see what Martyn's analysis is, and then I'll be back with the chart analysis of SMCI. We covered the earnings yesterday. It was a miss on earnings. We've got this news as well with AI chips and stuff like that, tariff wise. So we're going to keep an eye on this, and we're going to come back with a fundamental and chart analysis any second now. So what I'm going to do is get ready to end the stream. We're going to send you over to Martyn's stream now. So let me just make sure this is all set up behind the scenes. Yes. There we go. So if you guys have noticed, you can either press the link to go directly to the next show, or if you stay where you are, if you just keep your YouTube app open, and within 30 seconds to a minute, it just automatically takes you over to the next stream as well. And that's what I was just checking, that it's already set up. Mike, missed your face. I'll send you a picture there. Yeah, Mike, you need to call into the show. Shall I start doing a call-in on the morning forecast show? One person a day. Should we see if we can do that in the morning forecast show? That would be quite cool. I don't think I've ever had a speaker. I had RB once on the show, and that was for a birthday show because he wanted to sing me happy birthday. That was quite fun. Anyway, thank you guys. I'm going to send you over to Martyn. There'll be 2 links up here. Go straight to Martyn. The link is pinned in the chat. And if you stay where you are, it'll take you directly there. But until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.